Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once again, another episode of Generations of the Game, episode 19, I do believe, that we're recording here tonight. And of course, I got my co-pilot alongside of me as always, Chill Will. What's going on, brother?
JP was good, bro. And we on 20 actually, man. It's so many episodes, it's hard to keep track.
It's hard to keep track. Wow, number 20. Consistent flowing, brother. Consistent flowing.
Yes, sir.
I guess we get right into it, man. NBA playoffs have begun. It separates the men from the boys, Will. And I guess we'll start with the play-in games. Let's start with the Lakers and New Orleans Pelicans the other night, man. That was a very good game the other night that we saw. Very good game. Man, Zion looked like Zion the other night, man. Until he got hurt. Zion looked like Zion, man. AD came up big. LeBron, of course, you know, they played big. They got a good game from the role players. You know, and everything. Let's talk about that game, man. What did you see with that game?
Well, first of all, I mean, you're right, man. Like Zion, he looked like the player that everybody thought was coming into the league, you know, from day one. And again, sadly, you know, he got hurt again, you know, but, you know, was it 40 and 11, something like that? You know, hell of a game. He showcased that explosiveness. And actually, the thing with Zion, when you talk about explosiveness, of course he can jump, but he's like ridiculously fast. It was like a play, I think, towards the end of the first half. You know, they gave him the ball. Typically, you know, they try to roll the ball. So, you know, you get some momentum without the clock starting. But they just passed him the ball. You know, he blows by LeBron, comes down, gets the layup at the buzzer. You know, you don't see players of that size, you know, that type of like weight moving like that, man. You know, and there's nobody. I know Barkley, you know, was a freak of nature for the time and everything like that. But as far as like flat out end-to-end speed, like Zion is truly like a freak of nature, man. And like Ingram came back from injury, man, but he needed some more time to round into the, you know, form the all-star that we know him to be. I think that would have really like helped push, you know, New Orleans over the edge, man. But the Lakers, man, you know, AD, Bron doing what they do. Like you said, the role players actually came to play. And, you know, Darvin Ham, he played the rotations, I feel like, as sensibly as we can expect, you know. So the Lakers, man, they handle business, and, you know, they got, what is it, Denver, I believe. So that's going to be very interesting series. But, you know, I will say, you know, this is not a biased thing. Like, a part of me was rooting for the Pelicans just because, you know, you want to see that new blood really get a shot, you know, in the playoffs. But, yeah, that's my thoughts on it, brother.
Yeah, man. The Pelicans are up and coming team, man. You know, we just hope, you know, that Zion can stay healthy because he's a generational type player. Man, his name's escaping me right now. The point guard for the Lakers, brother. What's
D'Angelo Russell?
What's his D'Angelo Russell. D'Angelo Russell. He had a huge game the other night too. He hit some big threes as well the other night. So, you know, if D'Angelo Russell could be that consistent third scorer, I think the Lakers can be a dangerous team in the playoffs. I really do believe that. Now, can they beat Denver? I don't see it. But I think they could give Denver a hard game. But everybody else to step up besides LeBron and AD. If they get production from the role players, and like I said, D'Angelo Russell could be that third or fourth option. They're going to be a tough team to deal with, man. Lakers, because the Lakers have the talent to deal with it. It's a matter of putting all the ingredients together. And like you said, Darvin Ham thought he made some adjustments, did a good job coaching. And looking forward to this Denver Lakers matchup on Saturday, definitely. But
Bro.
as we move on now, as we move on to another game that we saw, some people say this is the end of a dynasty. I don't know. But the Golden State Warriors got beat the other night by the Sacramento Kings. What do you think's going to happen to the Warriors, Will, this offseason, man?
I don't know that it's over the way that people think. I do think that I don't know if Clay and his team, like his representation, will be able to come to an agreement, because obviously if he wants to stay in Golden State, he's not going to be able to get the type of money he's asking for. Sadly, because of injuries, age, he's not the same Clay, from 5-7 years ago, so you're just not going to get that. Now, if he's willing to give him a hometown discount, with that being the franchise he's been with his whole career, I could see him bringing him back. He still at times, can turn back the clock and really lock in as a shooter. The defense isn't the same due to the injuries, but still, a good rotational piece. But, as a starter, you got to start, turning the reins over to those young boys, man. Kuminga's been getting more time. Moody's going to have to get more time. Was it Pazinski? All these young players, are earning these minutes. Same goes for Draymond. I think, he can come back. Obviously, depends on how much money, he's asking for. But I do think in one way or another, their roster looks somewhat different. I can't say who, but I do think either Clay or Draymond will end up on another team. If I had to pick, I would say probably Clay. I feel like you can maybe make the argument that Draymond, when he's on the court, still brings tremendous defensive value and is obviously, the voice in that locker room, on the bench. And, antics aside, he is a mentor for a lot of the younger players that they bring in, so that's not something you can just throw away. But they've done a really good job between the picks they've had in the lottery and also later picks, kind of quietly rebuilding. I think Trace Jackson Davis is going to be, a really good piece for them moving forward. So there is some good things. And as long as you got Steph, man, like, you got a, what they call a puncher's chance, but they definitely have to retool.
Yeah, man. Clay's definitely the same player he was 5 years ago, but he still he has his moments, man, where he actually, he's a walking bucket. And it's a shame, Will, because if Clay didn't have the Achilles injury, then had the setback, we're talking about, this probably, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now, about the Warriors and everything, man. It's just a shame, man, because Clay was one of the best two-way players in the league. Defensively, he was great. And of course, he's a top 5 shooter of all time, man, and definitely a Hall of Famer and one of the best shooting guards we've seen, but it's just a shame, that he had that two serious injuries 2 years in a row. Also, as far as Draymond goes, he's the heart and soul of that team, man. Like, we talk about Steph being the engine. We talk about Klay Thompson up there as well. But Draymond Green is the heart and soul of the Warriors. I got to a debate with, I forgot, somebody a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, and they were talking about Draymond's not a Hall of Famer. And I said, Draymond is definitely a Hall of Famer. He's been Defensive Player of the Year a couple of times. He got Olympic gold medal, got 4 rings, 4-time All-Star. I'm like, that's a Hall of Fame resume. So yeah, I think definitely Draymond's is a Hall of Famer, and also as you said about the Warriors, Kuminga is getting better, Moody's getting better. The young guys are getting there, man. You know they're going to be the key next year to see where this team's going and where what direction they're moving to.
I agree with that. And as far as like the Draymond Hall of Fame talk, absolutely. One thing that you and I talk about all the time is the Basketball Hall of Fame. It's not just the NBA. But even if it was only the NBA, I mean, he's a specialist. I don't want to disrespect him and flat out say role player because it's a little different. But when you think of guys that really excelled in a role, he's got to be like a Mount Rushmore of that. Overachiever as far as where he was drafted. The expectations of his career, all of that. So, I don't know. I can't think off the top of my head of any defensive player of the year, multiple time champion, and gold medalist that doesn't get in the hall. To me, that's easy.
Yeah, man, definitely. And like you said, man, in my opinion, in my lifetime of watching players defensively, definitely top five all time at the very least. Maybe even one or two. And you know what I mean? In the last, well, he's definitely the best we've seen probably in the last 10 to 15 years. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. He's the best. Sacramento Kings, man, they go against who does Sacramento play against? They play against Minnesota, I think.
Man, that's going.
Oh no.
They
They're
still
in the
got.
playing game tomorrow.
They
They
still
get the
got.
number one seed. I'm sorry. They get
Yup. They got the play in.
yeah, they're in the playing.
Pelicans.
Man, they see you all, man. What do you think?
So the Kings, they're an interesting team, man. Fox and Sabonis. They are a team with two borderline All NBA. Arguably should have been All Stars. In the play-in. So I don't take them lightly at all. If they're on, top to bottom, they can really score the basketball. They got but some people think, six man of the year, Malik Monk. You got what is his name? This escaping me. Murray. He's really
Keegan
improved.
Murray. Yeah.
Keegan Murray really improved. From last year, he's shooting the ball from deep way better. Gives them a whole another dimension. Um, you know, they just get it done, man. Davion Mitchell, they've got depth in a little bit of everything. But I do think that OKC is obviously, just from a talent perspective and an execution perspective, on a short list of best teams in the league for a reason. And I think that they have some bulletin board material. We talk about the need for our voices in the media, and it's very true because I'm not going to mention any names, but I did see a segment where someone was saying that they felt like OKC is the worst number one seed, in if not recent memory ever, coming out of the West, and I just think that's crazy. I'm not gonna say who should or shouldn't be the worst one seed or whatever. But all I'm saying is it's a team full of young guys. The average age of the team I think is like 23 and a half years old, and those guys are very locked in with social media, especially Shea. And I'm sure he showed it to everybody in the organization. And I'm sure they're ready to make a statement and quiet that noise very quickly.
I think I know who you're talking about. I think I saw that as well. Somebody said that. I'm like, huh? Come on, man. Come on, man. Everybody got these little hot takes nowadays. Come on, man. Do you really believe it? Did the work? Come on, man. Um, yeah, man. I think it could be a very, very good series between OKC and Sacramento. I'm expecting it to be a good series, that nobody's talking about. Definitely. And I think, they're gonna want to make a statement as a number one seed. Let's move on now as we talk about the Eastern Conference here. So my Philadelphia 76ers had me sweating last night. Had me sweating last night. But they pulled it out against, of course, a tough Miami Heat team, man. Um, Man, this game right here, the role players really stepped up, especially one Nicholas Batum. 6 3-pointers last night. I think he had 20 points, 5 rebounds. Kelly Oubre continues to show why he should get a big deal from the 76ers in the offseason. He had some good moments down the stretch. Campaign hit a big three last night. Um, Tyrese Maxey didn't have a particular his typical type of game, nor did the big man Joel Embiid. And people were talking about Joel Embiid on the radio. I heard, and they're saying, "Oh, he looks sluggish. They're worried and stuff." But we go through this every year. We see like with Joel, where he's hurt or something like that. There, we'll see what happens. I'm just a person like to see it. Let's see how it plays out. Because look, Joel Embiid is healthy. They have a shot at winning the championship. If he's 90% of what he is, they have a shot at going to the championship. As you know, the Sixers open up with the New York Knicks on Saturday. They're going to be a tough opponent. They're without Julius Randle, too, their second best player. Jalen Brunson, man, like I said, top 3 MVP candidate right now. Definitely with Gilgeous Alexander and the Joker. Those are the top 3. I look for a tough series between the Sixers and the Knicks. I'll be honest with you. I got the Sixers at 6 because I think they still have no answer on even if Joel Embiid is 75, 80%. I think still they have an answer for Joel Embiid. Brunson's going to get his. The Knicks have a deep team. Yeah, I'll take it back. Maybe 7, man. Maybe 7 because the Knicks are a very good team and they're physical. I think this could be the best playoff series in all of basketball. This Knicks Sixers series, man. It's going to be a very physical series. What do you see for Philly and the Knicks?
So I do agree with you. I don't think New York really has anything for Embiid. Even if their roster is fully healthy, they don't have a player that. Really nobody has a player that can check Embiid. But they're down Mitchell Robinson. Hartenstein, I believe, been on a minutes restriction all year. Randall's out. They're depleted. As far as like their post players, man, and but they do have shooting and some versatile pieces. With the work they did at the trade deadline has really paid off for them, especially OG. When he's on the court, he just makes things happen. He's a player that, if you're a box score watcher, you might not be blown away. But if you really watch, he just makes winning plays. What he does on defense, moving off the ball, knocking down open shots, And one thing that I like too, he got in a little confrontation, few games ago. Yeah, but he had Brunson's back, and that's the type of thing that unifies a team, and really when you're in the trenches, you can count on somebody willing to go that extra mile, and I do think that Brunson, he's had a hell of a season. He's been showing, everybody who he is, but I do think he's going to take it up a notch, in this series, and really just try to show, what he can do. But at the end of the day, I think the playing game and just what we saw from the Sixers a lot, man, that, were they winning every game without Embiid? No, and nobody expected them to. But they were finding ways to win, with Maxey leading the way and the role players, just taking, different opportunities each game, finding the matchup, that they had the advantage in. And, we talked about it. If Embiid is relatively healthy, this is the most balanced roster that Philly has had in a long time, and this is a very dangerous team. If Embiid's knee holds up, man, I definitely think they get past, the Knicks, because Brunson's going to get his, but Maxi's going to get his. And then you got the big fella down there that nobody has an answer for.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Knicks bench is going to be key too with DiVincenzo. He's been playing very good. Hart's been playing very good and stuff. So, look, I got something to say, man. I got something to say here. I listened to Philly sports radios today. I'm not going to say the station's name, but they were talking about Jay Wright, and they were Jay Wright was basically. I didn't see the interview, but I think they were trying to insinuate that Jay Wright said that he's rooting for the Knicks because he has 3 of his players on that team. And they were saying, well, Jay Wright could be a traitor, basically. And I'm like, how's the man a traitor when he has 3 of his players playing for the college team? Who's he more loyal to? The Sixers or the players that he coached to help them win a championship? I mean, what are we talking about here? The man's going with his players. That would just be like me or you like OKC. But say, for instance, you were a coach and you had 2, 3 of your, or even 1 of your high school players, college players, whatever you're coaching at, playing for the Sacramento Kings. Yeah, you like OKC, but you also have loyalty to your players that won you championships at the end of the day. So I don't see what the problem is with Jay Wright if he's rooting for the Knicks to beat the Sixers, because 3 of his players are playing there for the Knicks. That's loyalty. You're loyal to them because they came to your school. They bought you a national championship. So I don't see what the problem is.
No, I agree with you. I mean, your players, if you did it right as a coach, that's extended family, so you're rooting for your family, and I mean, Jay Wright's retired. So, the further the Knicks go in the playoffs, he can travel around the country and watch them play, you got to look at it that way. Of course, he'd be cool if the Sixers advance, but, the trader talk, man, look, we know how the Philly radio and just the locals can talk sometimes, man. That's just flat out nonsense.
It's nonsense, man. Because Jay Wright is maybe he may be the best coach in the history of Philadelphia basketball. He just might be that. And by the way, we got to admit this: we did make a mistake last week, by not mentioning him on the coaches list of all-time great coaches. Because Jay Wright, man, I mean. Man, what he did at Villanova, man, I mean, who saw that coming, man? And he didn't necessarily get like the 5-star players and stuff, but man, the players he got, he developed, and he's had some great players come out of that program, man. Had some great players come out of the Villanova program. But look, I'm a Sixers fan too, but I wouldn't mind, being that these guys are from the area or have ties to the area, I can see them do well as well. I'm a Sixers fan. I like Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson is one of my favorite players to watch. So yeah, I'm rooting for the Sixers. But hey, look, as long as it ain't the Boston Celtics, bro, I'm good, man. I'm good, man.
Listen, man, that's the Villanova Knicks. You know what I'm saying? The locals are looking at it all wrong.
Exactly. And I can understand why their coach is rooting for his players, man. As we see, Miami Heat has to play the Chicago Bulls tomorrow night. But man, they said Jimmy Buckets is down for like what, a week or 2? Man, I still think Miami beats the Bulls tomorrow night because of the culture. Because the Tyler Hero, he could score for you. Bam Adebayo's an all-star. They got the players there Jaquez is good. They got the players there to make a run. And I'm gonna tell you something else too. If they play Boston in the first round, I'm not saying they're going to beat Boston, but I think they will give them a hell of a series, though.
No, I agree. They always do give them a hell of a series, man, and especially they just hang around long enough for Jimmy to come back. That's a bad matchup, man. And as far as the Bulls go, I mean, Kobe White, he's played his way into most improved conversations, and DeRozan is DeRozan, man. He's probably the one of the most underappreciated, buckets we've had, come through the league. Been around a long time, still doing it at a high level. But I do think, the Heat, and they should be able to get the W, man. But until that final buzzer sounds, man, you just don't know.
Yep. Pressure's on. Pressure's on him, brother. And like you said, man, DeMar DeRozan has always been underappreciated. In my opinion, well, it's not my opinion. He is. He's definitely going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Famer. Got over 20,000 career points. Been an All-Star I don't know how many years. He's a walking bucket, like you said. And, you could never count him out. And as far as Kobe White goes, man, Kobe White is turning that corner where I expect him to be in the All-Star game next year. Very well could be, man. I mean, he's an elite player, man. Look at the Bulls; they got some talent. Alex Caruso getting hurt, that's going to hurt them a little bit. So, we'll see what happens, man. Because, like we said, Will, this is our time. This is the time. As a matter of fact, as I always say, this is Christmas for me, bro. This is Christmas because you got the NBA playoffs. You got that going on. You got the NFL draft coming up. And on top of that there too, we got the pen relays. So, this is like a kid at Christmas for me, man. With all this going on. As we move on, Will, from the NBA, you want to discuss this issue now, man? We got to discuss situation that went down in the NBA, brother.
Let's do it.
Jontay Porter, man. Speak on it, Will.
Yeah, man. The Jontay Porter situation, I don't really know how to characterize it, except it's crazy. It almost doesn't even sound real, have an NBA player get called up, placing, I believe, thousands of bets, and not even just betting, but betting on his own games. It's crazy. I think this is the first lifetime ban I can recall, at least of my lifetime, since I can remember really watching, professional sports. So it's really crazy. And I saw they broke down the numbers. I think he, as far as career earnings, he'd earned something like $2 million or something like that. And he'd only made 20,000 off all the bets that he placed out of you blew a career. There's no telling how long you'd have been in the league or anything like that. But obviously, we know as the TV contracts and the bargaining continues to go up, the contracts go up. You have guys that hardly play, easily making a couple million a year just to put their uniform on. So it is a slap in the face, in my opinion, to all of the players who have dedicated their lives and have tried and have not reached that level. You were taking up a spot and doing gotta be real, just doing some bullshit. Your brother's in the league, you know what I'm saying? You got a younger brother still playing college ball. You made it, you know what I'm saying? All you had to do was keep your head down, keep being a good teammate, and you good to go, man. I think I want to say, I don't know if it's the NFL or NBA, I can't remember, but I want to say it's something I think 4 years or something like that, and then you qualify for a pension. So even with that, like, when you think about the grand scheme of things, the game of life, you I'm not gonna say you won. I'm not gonna say it guarantees you a life of lavish riches or anything, but you set yourself up to where if you played your cards right, you would be good. And you threw it all away, over FanDuel or whatever the hell you were betting on. But that's my thoughts, JP, man. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, man. It's unfortunate, man. This young man, Jontay Porter, got caught up in this thing, man. Do I think he should have got a lifetime ban? Maybe it's a little excessive. Maybe a 2 or 3 year ban I can see, man. The kid made a mistake. We're supposed to be about second chances. And if he really was sorry and wanted to make amends for it, then I would say let the kid come back into the NBA, man. I in a way you can't feel bad for him because, like you said, he has the perfect job. Even if he played, like you said, 4 or 5 years in the league, even if you sat the bench for a year or two or whatever, you're making money, bro. You're making more money than the average person makes. And you blew it away on dumb shit, man. But then again, he's a kid, man. And you got to feel bad for him, and with everything that happened and stuff. But with your actions come consequences sometimes. You don't think consequences do happen. Maybe you can go over to Europe or somewhere and he can make a nice living over there. That's a good living too. Hopefully he'll get back playing the game and he learned a lesson from this. Because, bro, let me tell you something. You mess with the wrong type of people with some money like this, they could put you in the grave too. So, hopefully he learned a lesson from this, man, and can move on with his life and be a productive citizen. And, he made a mistake though, man. That's what I say. He made a mistake that was costly. And, if we're supposed to be about giving second chances and let people make amends, I would say, hey, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 years. Let's see where the young man's at. Let's see what he's going to do. We all make mistakes in life, man. Some are harsh and some are unforgivable mistakes. And we know what those unforgivable mistakes are. This young man didn't make an unforgivable mistake. He made a mistake that was out of stupidity. But, we could just hope that he learned a lesson. He could continue his basketball career over in Europe or wherever. You can make a nice living there and get some wealth for yourself. And that's another good place to play at too, because it's a lot of talent all around the world. We talk about Europe, these different countries. It's a lot of talent, man, playing, man. You can make yourself some money, man. So yeah, the kid made a mistake. People should be pissed off at him for what he did, but at the same time, no. Let's just wish this young man the best, man. Hopefully, he's not going down a downward spiral with this.
No, I agree, and I think Europe, even China, maybe it'll be good for him. Get back out there, make some money playing the game he grew up playing, and also something, I don't know how he feels as far as like public speaking and everything, but maybe down the line, not everybody wants to be a cautionary tale, but look, I'd go to some of these like camps, for the elite players and everything, and I'd like tell my story, like, look, man, I made the league, and just that quick, I was out of the league, so learn from my mistakes, and I would even also, I'm not sure, but to me, it sounds like he was addicted, to the gambling. And as you know, you can be addicted to anything. So I would even maybe look at that. Not if I'm John Tay, but as far as like whoever does these type of studies and the addiction centers and stuff like that, because I do hold him and whoever else accountable for their actions. Like if you blowing your money, gambling and stuff like that, but you know, you see these commercials and how easy it is to gamble right off your phone or whatever, every day, all day long. And all they're responsible to do is put up a disclaimer that, about Gamblers Anonymous, and you can barely see it on the screen. You know, that's like putting a crack pipe on the table in front of somebody, and hoping, oh, well, why'd he smoke it? Why'd you put it in front of him?
Yeah, man. I agree. As we move on into the world of basketball, we know nothing we got to talk about here tonight. We got to talk about the WNBA draft, man.
Absolutely.
Definitely got to talk about that. So it's no surprise Caitlin Clark went number 1. Cameron Brink went number 2. And Cardoza from South Carolina went number 3 to Chicago, man. Who are the impact players you see in this draft? And it seems like to me, man, Chicago got themselves the Twin Towers up there with Cardoza and Angel Reese, man. That's a formidable front line, with the shot blocking and the rebounding and the athleticism of both these young ladies, man. Chicago did themselves well.
So, I'm split on the Chicago situation, right? So from a perspective of star power, I love it. From what I saw, they gained like tens or hundreds of thousands of followers on their Instagram, like overnight, after drafting Angel Reese and Cardozo. So that was brilliant. And in theory, having 2 dominant post players makes a lot of sense. My only issue is until I see otherwise, it's not the same as having like Duncan and David Robinson, because those were situations where you had a player that could at least step out to the elbow and shoot a jumper, so you can play high-low, you can space it a little different. But, Angel she can drive to the basket, like straight line drives, but, we don't really see the jumper. Cardozo, so dominant on the inside, we didn't really see the jumper. In high school, I saw she shot jumpers sometimes, but when you got an advantage like that, you just take advantage of it. Now, I do think they can, and I hope that they prove me wrong as far as that goes. But I just have to see it. Now, they do have, Hall of Fame point guard Teresa Weatherspoon as the coach. So I think, her defensive mindset and her basketball brilliance will really make some things happen there. So I have a lot of interest in seeing that. I think also, of course, Indiana, to me, the draft started at pick number 2 because we knew Caitlin was going 1. But I love the draft that the Los Angeles Sparks had. They got Cameron Brink at 2. I thought they needed to take Rakia Jackson at 2 because I didn't think she'd be there when they picked again. But they got Brink, and then they got Jackson, who you can argue could have gone 2 or 3 as well. And, it fills 2 major needs because the Sparks really needed a post and they needed, help on the perimeter. And Jackson, as quiet as it's kept, man, she might be, the most pro-ready, player from this draft class. She can handle the ball, she can shoot the ball, she can post you, she can drive it. There's not really anything she can't do. Anytime you watch Tennessee, she jumped off the screen immediately. And Cameron Brink, 4 years of excellence at Stanford, man, like one of the better post players, we've seen over the last few years, man, going toe-to-toe, with Aaliyah Boston, really anybody you could think of, so I know with her versatility, being able to shoot the 3, go in the paint, block shots, I think LA hit a home run for sure. You gotta come off mute, bro.
I didn't know Cameron Brink was in that New Balance commercial neither. That's out with Kawhi and all the players and stuff. So yeah, I didn't know that was her. So I was like, oh, it's Cameron Brink, and then in the commercial, you know. But yeah, man, Indiana's going to have a good team, I think, this year too. Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark. That's going to be a formidable duo to deal with, man. In the up and coming years, you know, you got the inside and outside game going to be working there.
Low key, they got a trio because they have Boston and they got Lisa Smith too. They took, I think, a year or two back out of Baylor.
Yeah,
they got a hell of a team.
Yeah, and of course, you know, Las Vegas Aces, man. Until proven otherwise, maybe New York is a team that can deal with them. But other than that, man, the talent level on that team is just. I mean, anytime you got what you would call it, Candace Parker and Asia Wilson alone as your building blocks. I mean, you're talking about an all-time great player and a future all-time great player here in Asia Wilson, man. You know, it's scary. And what's the guard? The guard they have because yeah, man. You know, and you got them. They don't have a big three. Yeah. Yeah, they don't have a big three, Will. They got a big five. They got like five. I mean, the bench is even crazy, and nobody's beating them. They basically have a dynasty. I think Houston Comets was the first one with Swoops, Kim Perrette, God rest her soul, Cheryl Swoops, and Tina Thompson. But man, this team right here, the Los Angeles Aces. I mean, Los Angeles Aces. Las Vegas Aces are right there with them, man. You know, I'm looking forward to the WNBA this year, man. It's going to be good, you know, and everything, man. Definitely looking forward to it. Man, well, I guess that basically does it for our show this week, right? We covered all the bases with everything from the NBA playoffs. Jontay Porter, you know, hey, we hope he gets better with his situation. And of course, we covered the WNBA draft. We're going to look forward to some good games this week, man. I know you're looking forward to your OKC Thunder. Did they come on Sunday at 9:30? Sixers and Knicks is prime time, 6 p.m. on Saturday. So, you know, hey, we'll tell everybody out there to really enjoy these games and watch some good playoff games. Well, I guess we'll make the announcement now. We will not have a show next week. Next Thursday, we won't have a show because I will be at the Penn Relays next week. And, of course, you know, other things going on too. But, you know, I'll be at the Penn Relays. We'll have a recap next week of what happened at the Penn Relays, what went down. Was there going to be the upset that I'm saying right now that I am predicting right now? I'm predicting this. This will be the first time in 17 years where an American high school, Bullis out of Maryland, will beat the Jamaicans in the high school boys 4x400. I'm making that prediction right now. So if it doesn't go that way, I'll take the heat for it. But with the runners they got and Quincy, this young man, Quincy Wilson, for you track fans out there, you know who this young man is. He has the potential to do great things. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the Penn Relays next week, which I've been going to every year since 1985 when I was 13 years old. But we'll have the NFL draft. You know, we'll talk about that next week too, and the NBA playoffs. Like I said, this is Christmas time. Will, you have anything you're looking forward to up and coming next week?
Definitely looking forward to the NBA playoffs draft and to, you know, get to chop it up with you, man, and just hear, you know, how the Penn Relays went down for sure.
Yes, sir. Definitely, good brother. Definitely. And for me and Will, hey, man, as we say, have a good week, and we will see you all soon. Definitely. Peace.
Peace.